Good morning. I'm Reverend Marcia Curtis, and I'm a member of Beverly Unitarian Church. We welcome you this morning, whether you've been with us for a long time or whether you're brand new. We're glad that you're here. We welcome you no matter what your race or the color of your skin, no matter what your sexual orientation or gender is. We welcome you no matter what your faith background is. We welcome you as long as you're a person of goodwill. Welcome to Beverly Unitarian Church. Everything begins on the edge of awareness. The dawn is not, and then is. Sleep is, and then is not. In between is the awakening. The passage of thin light between breaks open the day. The passage of thin sound between flows into the day. Too soon the numbing rumble of traffic swells, the day glares. Let the soft haze hang again across the row of morning. Wait upon the narrow moment, the first awareness of being in between. Live days and seasons on the thin edge of dawn, in praise that every single thing begins now. Here today in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way. We'll now join in singing Winds Be Still, hymn number 83 in the Gray Hymnal.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Birds fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view, help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far and lead us each to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shining, illuminate our inward view, help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our songs in new sounds that become full sing.
Please join me in repeating the covenant of this church. The words should appear on your screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now we invite you to greet one another using the chat room. We come together each week as a community of faith, gathering so that we can strengthen one another in times of hardship and celebrate one another in times of joy. So if you have a virtual candle that you'd like lit for joys or sorrows or personal concerns, please use the chat function. We lift up this prayer to all that is holy within this universe, to the golden breaking of dawn on a summer day, to the flock of inebriated robins eating fermented berries and looking into the eyes of another non-human creature and finding kinship there, to the first breath of a newborn babe, to the last breath of an old woman or a child. May we open our hearts to the moments of holiness that exist all around us as we go through our days. Greet with awareness the mysteries and majesty of this life. Find the courage within us to greet the hard times that life inevitably holds with compassion for ourselves and others. And likewise find the courage to work for social justice, that our world may be a better place. May it be so. Amen. We'll now enter into silence. please join in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
I dream one dream at a time. Yesterday's dead and tomorrow's blind. I live one day at a time. I guess that you're surprised to see me back at home. But you know how much I miss you when I'm gone. Don't ask how long I plan to stay. Never crossed my mind. I live one day at a time. I live one day at a time. I dream one dream at a time. Yesterday's dead and tomorrow's blind. I live one day at a time. See the sparrow fly across the cloudy sky, searching for a patch of sunlight, well, so am I. I wish I didn't have to follow, and perhaps I won't in time. I live one day at a time. I live one day at a time. I dream one dream at a time. Yesterday's dead and tomorrow's blind. I live one day at a time.
It was April 15th, 1986, and I was 30 foot deep in an abandoned quarry outside of Durham, North Carolina. It was my first dive to become certified as a scuba diver, and it had been going well. But now we came to the hard part, the last part of the dive, where we were to partner up with our buddy and share the mouthpiece for air as we rose to the surface. One lesson had been devoted to things to be scared of while scuba diving. Going into the lesson, my friend Leah had been obsessively worried about sharks, but the last creature in the lesson was your buddy out to get your air. After the lesson ended, Leah offered quietly, "I'm not afraid of sharks anymore." So the certifying dive included doing what you should do when one of you runs out of air, sharing the mouthpiece back and forth. I had no problem with doing that. Lee and I had practiced it together in the lessons in the YMCA pool. But as we kicked our way up toward the surface, suddenly everything started spinning around me wildly, and I didn't know if I was kicking up or kicking down. I kept exchanging the mouthpiece with Leah so we could both breathe, but I stopped kicking, and so we slowly sank toward the quarry floor some 30 feet below us. One of the instructors noticed what was happening and came over and grabbed onto me, and he and Leah together kicked me up to the surface. When I got home that day, I discovered that I had a fever of 103 degrees. By that night, I also had the mother of all sore throats. I never got well. The fever eventually dropped and became a persistent low-grade fever. I continued to have the mother of all sore throats, although doctor after doctor looked at my throat and told me they could see nothing wrong. And I developed a headache that persisted for 6 years with no let-up. Also, my body felt like every part of it had been beaten with a baseball bat, and I was so fatigued that there were days when I couldn't get out of bed to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom was less than 10 steps away from the bed. But the worst of it was that as the illness stretched out week after week and month after month, doctors could find nothing wrong with me. I was left feeling like either I was a freak of nature or it was all in my head, and I was wasting the doctor's time. My body was telling me I was deathly ill, but the world was telling me I wasn't, and I couldn't reconcile the two. I didn't know what was happening to me, and I didn't know what to expect to happen next. I was in the throes of uncertainty. I've observed as a hospital chaplain that no news is worse than bad news. Not knowing is worse than getting the bad news of having cancer or congestive heart failure. This seems to be counterintuitive. While you're waiting for test results, not knowing what's wrong with you, you at least have the hope that the test results will say that you're all right. But person after person said to me after getting bad news, it's such a relief to know. Now they could engage in making plans for what came next. Uncertainty is so uncomfortable that even when certainty comes as bad news, it's preferable to the uncertainty. We've been plunged into a world of uncertainty by the COVID-19 virus. Over 170,000 people dead in just about 6 months, just in the United States. Hopes for a vaccine sometime in 21, but no certainty. Hopes that more people will wear masks and practice social distancing, but no certainty. Hopes that a test with a reasonable turnaround will be created, but no certainty. Hopes that enough hospital-strength masks and gowns will be found to protect our nurses, our doctors, our emergency medical technicians, but no certainty. Hopes that essential workers will somehow be safe, but no certainty. Hopes that we ourselves will be safe, but no certainty. When there's no certainty, people live with anxiety and fear. And one common defense against anxiety and fear is trying to control things. I tried that as the years of illness extended, even after I'd finally gotten a diagnosis after 3 years of illness, chronic fatigue syndrome, a diagnosis without a cure. When you try to control the people and events and things around you, you just add suffering and misery. But feeling like you have no control in the face of uncertainty is too frightening to bear. One of the only paths to letting go of suffering in the face of uncertainty is letting go of the attempt to be in control. The famous Buddhist teacher in the Thai forest tradition, Ajahn Chah, said, "If you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you'll have complete peace." But how to let go? Letting go doesn't happen just because we decide we're ready to let go. It doesn't happen all of a sudden, instantaneously, because we will it to happen. It is a process of becoming aware of the ways in which we're attempting to keep control and letting that awareness deepen, creating the conditions for letting go to happen when it is ready to happen. It's like gardening. All you can do is create favorable conditions for the seed to sprout. You can't make the seed sprout. It happens when the conditions come together. Just as with letting go, it happens when it happens of its own accord. To create the conditions, just notice when you're being particularly controlling and saying to yourself something like, "Oh, controlling." Every time you notice that urge to control, saying in a small voice in your mind, "Oh, controlling." Soon you'll become aware of the urge to control much more easily and become comfortable with the noting practice. You can bring your awareness more deeply to the experience of having the urge to control, exploring what it feels like in the body. Is there a feeling of constriction or heaviness or contractedness? Keep deepening your awareness of the urge to control, getting to know it well, and seeing the discomfort that it causes you. Try holding back and not acting on the urge to control, and see if anxiety rises up when you do so. It's okay if it does. You're just noticing what happens, noticing cause and effect. When anxiety arises, you can say to yourself, "Oh, anxiety," just noting that it's present, exploring what it feels like in the body. Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron writes, "Ordinarily, we are swept away by habitual momentum. We don't interrupt our patterns even slightly. With practice, however, we learn to stay with a broken heart, with a nameless fear, with the desire for revenge. Sticking with uncertainty is how we learn to relax in the midst of chaos, how we learn to be cool when the ground beneath us suddenly disappears. We can bring ourselves back to the spiritual path countless times every day simply by exercising our willingness to rest in the uncertainty of the present moment over and over again." Words of wisdom. Indian author Arundhati Roy writes, "Whatever it is, coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt like nothing else could. Our minds are still racing back and forth, longing for a return to normality, trying to stitch our future to our past and refusing to acknowledge the rupture. But the rupture exists, and in the midst of this terrible despair, it offers us a chance to rethink the doomsday machine we have built for ourselves. Nothing could be worse than a return to normality." Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break from the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging our carcasses of our prejudices and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us, or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. Uncertainty is always a portal to a new world. When we stay present with the uncertainty, we walk through that portal lightly with little luggage, and we're ready for transformation. Without the uncertainty of the illness, I would never have blossomed into being a UU minister and a teacher of mindfulness meditation. I don't want to glorify illness, and I'm nowhere near as ill as I was 34 years ago, but it still creates obstacles for me every day. I've learned, though, to see those obstacles as opportunities for growth. That's what learning to live with uncertainty means to me. Thank you, and blessings on your path through the uncertainty that surrounds us. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Please join in singing hymn number 352, Find a Stillness.
Find the stillness, oh the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, oh the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, find true harmony. Seek the essence, oh the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
This is the message of our faith: to act with passion in the face of injustice, to love with courage in the midst of life's pain. This is the meaning of our chalice flame. May it empower our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends. We invite you to use the donate button on the Beverly Unitarian Church webpage to make a donation to support the ongoing work of this community of faith as we seek together to build a better world and to nurture our spirits. Please join in saying the words on the screen. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.